Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm continuing my read through and review of The Book of the Damned by Charles Fort. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the podcast website. And that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. Also, please check out the links for friends of the show, Jen, the Arcane Observer, the co-host of this show, as well as Michael Strange and Trouble Minds Radio, the show, as well as the online radio station network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear my show and others from many other great people over there 24/7 online. So yeah, we're getting back into reading the books of Charles Fort and continuing on with the Book of the Damned to start with. So let me get back to this document here. It almost made me late for my own show. I should have had that open before I started, but anyway. So we are in the middle of reading here in, I believe, chapter 2. So let me find where I was at. And okay. And we'll go with the first paragraph. This one says, or just to look over a typical instance of this dogma and the way it works out. In the American Journal of Science, 142-196, we are told of a yellow substance that fell by the bucketful upon a vessel one windless night in June in Picton Harbor, Nova Scotia. The writer analyzed the substance, and it was found to give off nitrogen and ammonia and an animal odor. Now, one of our intermediatist principles to start with is that so far from positive in the aspect of homogeneousness are all substances that, at least in what is called an elementary sense, anything can be found anywhere. Mahogany logs on the coast of Greenland, bugs of a valley on the top of Mount Blanc, atheists at a prayer meeting, ice in India. For instance, chemical analysis can reveal that almost any dead man was poisoned with arsenic, we'll say, because there is no stomach without some iron, lead, tin, gold, arsenic in it and of it, which, of course, in a broader sense, doesn't matter much, because a certain number of persons must, as a restraining influence, be executed for murder every year. And if detectives aren't able really to detect anything, illusion of their success is all that is necessary. And it is very honorable to give up one's life for society as a whole. Also, I should say at the beginning of the show here, I probably should have said at the beginning, I'm reading and reviewing a book by another person, by Charles Fort. So some of these views may be different from yours as well as from mine. And also it is an older book, so keep that in mind for many reasons. So getting back to the book here, the chemist who analyzed the substance of Pictou sent a sample to the editor of the journal. The editor, of course, found pollen in it. Pollen. My own acceptance is that there'd have to be some pollen in it, that nothing could very well fall through the air in June near the pine forests of Nova Scotia and escape all floating pollen. But the editor does not say that this substance contained pollen. He disregards nitrogen, ammonia, and an animal odor and says that the substance was pollen. For the sake of our 30 or 40 tokens of liberality, or pseudo liberality, if we can't be really liberal, we grant that the chemist of the first examination probably wouldn't know an animal odor if he were janitor of a menagerie. As we go along, however, there can be no such sweeping ignoring of this phenomenon. The fall of animal matter from the sky. I'd suggest to start with that we'd put ourselves in the place of deep sea fishes. How would they account for the fall of animal matter from above? They wouldn't try. Or it's easy enough to think of most of us as deep sea fishes of a kind. Journal Franklin Institute, 90-11. That upon the 14th of February, 1870, there fell at Genoa, Italy, according to Director Baccardo of the Technical Institute of Genoa and Professor Castellani, a yellow substance. Again, apologize for the reading. Fort does have his own style of writing. But the microscope revealed numerous globules of cobalt blue, also corpuscles of a pearly color that resembled starch. See Nature 2-166. So he's referring to other examples there. Comtes Rendus 56-972. It's a M. Boyce says of a substance reddish, varying to yellowish. And again, you have a callback on the way to the beginning of the book, where he uses those two colors to sort of talk about the phenomenon versus scientific explanations for it. Anyway, that fell enormously and successively, or upon April 30th, May 1st, and May 2nd, in France and Spain, that it carbonized and spread the odor of charred animal matter, that it was not pollen, that in alcohol it left a residue of resinous matter. Hundreds of thousands of tons of this matter must have fallen. Odor of charred animal matter. Or an aerial battle that occurred in interplanetary space several hundred years ago. Effective time in making diverse remains uniform in appearance. It's all very absurd because even though we are told of a prodigious quantity of animal matter that fell from the sky over 3 days, France and Spain, we're not ready yet. That's all. M. Boyce says about this substance, says that the substance was not pollen. The vastness of the fall makes acceptable that it was not pollen. Still, the resinous residue does suggest pollen of pine trees. We shall hear a great deal of a substance with a resinous residue that has fallen from the sky. Finally, we shall divorce it from all suggestion of pollen. Blackwood's Magazine, 3-338. A yellow powder that fell at Juris, Calabria, March 14th, 1813. Some of this substance was collected by SIG, I'm not sure what that means, it's abbreviation, Seminini, professor of chemistry at Naples. It had an earthy, insipid taste and is described as unctuous. When heated, this matter turned brown, then black, then red. According to the Annals of Philosophy, 11-466, one of the components was a greenish-yellow substance, which, when dried, was found to be resinous. But concomitants of this fall, loud noises were heard in the sky. Stones fell from the sky. According to Chladni, these concomitants occurred, and to me, they seem rather brutal or not associable with something so soft and gentle as a fall of pollen. That's the end of that section. So he's going over all these accounts and all these journals of things falling from the sky, and again, how they don't make sense or how they have different reactions to different things. It's amazing. When I did the summary of these books, I'm realizing now, more even as I'm going through this more and reading it word for word, there's just so many that even the summary did not get to. And at least not to the level that we are in going through this manually. So it's been amazing so far. Let's see here. Moving back to the document here. This next section says, black rains and black snows. Rains as black as a deluge of ink. Jet black snowflakes. Such a rain as that which fell in Ireland, May 14th, 1849, described in the Annals of Scientific Discovery, 1850, and the Annual Register, 1849. It fell upon a district of 400 square miles, and was the color of ink, and of a fetid odor, and very disagreeable taste. The rain at Castle Common, Ireland, April 30th, 1887. In quotation marks, thick, black rain. American meteorologist, I'm not sure. It's abbreviated, so 4-193. A black rain fell in Ireland, October 8th and 9th, 1907. In parentheses, Simmons Met a Meteorological Magazine. Excuse me, 43-2, in parentheses. It left a most peculiar, if I could say the word, and disagreeable smell in the air. The orthodox explanation of this rain occurs in Nature, March 2nd, 1908. cloud of soot that had come from South Wales, crossing the Irish Channel and all of Ireland. So the Black Rain of Ireland of March 1898, ascribed in Simmons' Meteorological Magazine 33-40 to clouds of soot from the manufacturing towns of North England and South Scotland. Our intermediatist principle of pseudologic, or our principle of continuity, is, of course, that nothing is unique or individual, that all phenomena merge away into all other phenomena. That, for instance, suppose there should be vast celestial super-oceanic or interplanetary vessels that come near this Earth and discharge volumes of smoke at times. We're only supposing such a thing as that now because, conventionally, we are beginning modestly and tentatively. But if it were so, there would necessarily be some phenomenon upon this Earth with which that phenomenon would merge. Extra mundane smoke and smoke from cities merge, or both would manifest in black precipitations in rain. In continuity, it is impossible to distinguish phenomena at their merging points, so we look for them at their extremes. Impossible to distinguish between animal and vegetable in some infusoria, but hippopotamus and violet. For all practical purposes, they're distinguishable enough. No one but a Barnum or a Bailey, circus references there, would send one a bunch of hippopotami as a token of regard. So away from the great manufacturing centers. Black Rain in Switzerland, January 20th, 1911. Switzerland is so remote and so ill at ease, is the conventional explanation that Nature 85-451 says of this rain that in certain conditions of weather, snow may take on an appearance of blackness that is quite deceptive. May be so. Or at night, if dark enough, snow may look black. This is simply denying that a black rain fell in Switzerland, January 20, 1911. Extreme remoteness from great manufacturing centers. La Nature, 1888, 2-406. That August 14, 1888, there fell at the Cape of Good Hope a rain so black as to be described as a shower of ink. Continuity dogs us. Continuity rules us and pulls us back. We seem to have a little hope that by the method of extremes, we could get away from things that merge indistinguishably into other things. We find that every departure from one merger is entrance upon another. At the Cape of Good Hope, vast volumes of smoke from great manufacturing centers as an explanation cannot very acceptably merge with the explanation of extra mundane origin. But smoke from a terrestrial volcano can. And that is the suggestion that is made in law nature. There is, in human intellection, no real standard to judge by, but our acceptance for the present is that the more nearly positive will prevail. By the more nearly positive, we mean the more nearly organized. Everything merges away, excuse me, into everything else, but proportionately to its complexity. If unified, a thing seems strong, real, and distinct. So in aesthetics, there we go. Words are hard. It is recognized that diversity in unity is higher beauty, or approximation to beauty, than is simpler unity. So the logicians feel that agreement of diverse data constitute greater convincingness or strength than that of mere parallel instances. As to Herbert Spencer, the more highly differentiated and integrated is the more fully evolved. Excuse me. Our opponents hold out for a mundane origin of all black rains. Our method will be the presenting of diverse phenomena in agreement with the notion of some other origin. We take up not only black rains, but black rains and their accompanying phenomena. And that's where we're going to stop for this episode because we only have about a minute left. I apologize for my voice there and parts of that. I think I may need some water here during the break. But I'd heard of red rains before. I had not noticed, or at least I don't remember now, the whole idea of black rains or black snowflakes. That is really wild. And these are happening through the 1800s into the early 1900s, according to all the sources that Fort talks about there. It makes me really wonder what other kind of weirdness you could find if you could just go through all the ancient or older journals of science and read through them and even read through the sections where they say there's this thing, the weird thing that happened, but we have this explanation for it. And just look at the weird things that happened. And if the explanation fits, that's great. But if it doesn't, then just look into that. I could see that if my eyes are better and I could do that, I could see myself doing that a lot. So anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening. And I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.